nation, spanning the region, and covering the globe. This is the KyssFM SKN News Now Morning Edition, your one true source for news. And now your presenter.
Good morning. Today is Friday, 9th March 2018. I am your presenter, Javon Liebert, and these are your top stories. Nationally, Saints and Nevis to be added to EU blacklist. Internationally, US to vote on boosting security at schools. And in sport, WWE sets sight on Middle East. We'll also have a look at today's updated weather forecast and Carib update. Now for a look at the news in detail. This week, the European Union, EU, will finalize their decision to add Saints and Nevis to their tax haven blacklist. Finance ministers of the EU will fully endorse the decision in their regularly monthly meeting tomorrow, Tuesday, 13, 2018. Ultimately, blacklisted jurisdictions could face reputational damage and stricter controls on their financial transactions with the EU, although no sanctions have been agreed by EU states as yet. The Bahamas and the U.S. Virgin Islands are also set to be added to the European Union blacklist of tax havens. As it stands, the blacklist would maintain a total of 9 jurisdictions deemed to facilitate tax avoidance. The others are American Samoa, Guam, Namibia, Palau, Samoa, and Trinidad and Tobago. The meeting would also see the EU's finance ministers delist Bahrain, the Marshall Islands, and St. Lucia as tax havens. Meanwhile, Anguilla, the British Virgin Islands, Dominica, and Antigua and Barbuda were added to the EU's grey list of jurisdictions, which are countries that do not respect EU anti-tax avoidance standards but have committed to changing their practices. The grey list includes dozens of jurisdictions from all over the world. Those who are in the grey list could be removed to the blacklist if they do not honor their commitments. A body was found in a tabernacle house over the weekend. The body found was already in the process of decomposing and was said to be there a couple days. The body was reliably identified by family and neighbors as 58-year-old Roy Liebert, a known mental patient. An autopsy is scheduled to be carried out of Liebert's body to determine the cause of death. Internationally, the House of Representatives is set to vote this week on paying for more security at schools, and students are planning a nationwide protest following the Florida shootings last month of 17 high school children and staff. Rob Reynolds reports from Los Angeles.
Spurred to action by the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School protesters, teenage students around the United States plan to walk out of class on March 14th. They are demanding stricter gun laws and an end to the political influence of the gun lobby. Naya Ramaswamy is a 13-year-old student in Los Angeles.
It's the adults making the laws, but it's the kids who are getting shot. And so I feel like the kids are the ones who should be standing up for themselves.
Naya's mother, Sash Ramaswamy, fully supports her.
I have told Naya, you walk out. If you want to walk out, you walk out, and we will deal with it.
But the administrators at Naya's school are discouraging student protests and threatening punishment.
Her teacher told her that if anyone left the classroom at 10 a.m., then they would get an unsatisfactory, that they would lose their privileges like being able to go to Disneyland with their class.
We want change! Other school districts around the U.S. are brandishing similar threats. For example, in Houston, Texas, a school district chief announced he would not allow student demonstrations for any, quote, protest or awareness, unquote. Those threats violate numerous court rulings upholding students' rights to free speech.
School administrators and students and families need to understand that students cannot be disciplined any more harshly under the Constitution than they would be if they were just missing class or lunch period. So they cannot be disciplined for protests, and they cannot be disciplined generally for things that they say or political positions that they take.
Civil liberties organizations say they'll take school districts to court if they impose harsh punishment for non-disruptive student protests. Naya says threats won't prevent her from standing up for her beliefs.
They're not going to stop me from doing this. Or my friends.
Student protesters are getting strong support from top university admission officers. Universities including Caltech, MIT, the University of Massachusetts, and others are all saying that even if high schools give black marks to their students for participating in walkouts, it will have no impact on the likelihood of them being admitted to those colleges. And many universities are encouraging students to take action, saying they should stand up for what they believe in. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Los Angeles.
In sport, pro wrestling is going global with market leader World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, pushing into new markets, including the Middle East. Aspiring grapplers in Qatar are looking to get in on the ground floor with the opening of the region's first ever pro wrestling school. Fintan Monaghan reports from Doha.
Welcome to the School of Hard Knocks. Clotheslines are on the curriculum, along with technical holds on the mat. But trainees at the Qatar Pro Wrestling Academy aren't just picking up the moves, they're also learning to take them safely. Both grapplers work together to put on a show that mixes sport with dramatic storytelling. The aim isn't to win, but to entertain the crowd, and that means you have to rely on your opponent to keep you safe from injury.
Trust is very important. So, like in the first place, we are friends, we hang out, we know each other very well. So, if I don't trust him, I won't be able to have a full match with him safely.
The school is the first of its kind in the Middle East. In the past, aspiring wrestlers would have to go to the US or the UK, but now they have an opportunity that's closer to home.
I just don't want to be only a fan watching background on TV. I want to be a main event in many shows, and yeah, that's what I really want to do.
The students say they're committed, and those who aren't serious don't last long.
Boys came in here because they just believe that wrestling is fake. Everything is fake 100%. They think that we're going to teach them how to act, not how to wrestle. So when we give them the first lesson, which is take a bomb on the ring, they change their mind.
Professional wrestling already has deep roots in the US, the UK, Japan, and Mexico. But its rise here in the Middle East comes at a time when the industry is truly going global, with market leader World Wrestling Entertainment setting its sights on the region. WWE airs in more than 180 countries in 20 different languages. The company rakes in over $800 million a year, and the Middle East is its latest target for expansion. American wrestling shows usually portray Arab wrestlers as bad guys. But going global could be challenging old stereotypes.
Everything is being changed now, for many reasons. Because the WWE started visiting Middle East, not like before. So if you're going to, for example, to Saudi Arabia, to Qatar, to bring the WWE there, you should have a good guy, Arabic good guys.
This man has amazing...
QPW regularly flies in foreign stars for shows in Qatar. Some of the Academy's students might soon be ready for a spot on the card. But for now, they'll battle it out in the gym, getting ready for their chance to perform in front of the big crowds. Vincent Monaghan, Al Jazeera, Doha.
And now for a look at today's weather forecast. Today will be sunny to partly sunny with a slight chance of a light afternoon shower. Tonight will be fair to partly cloudy. Winds are east, southeasterly at average speeds between 13 to 16 miles per hour over land and coastal waters. Seas are moderate with heights of 1.5 to 2.1 meters or 5 to 7 feet. Small craft operators should exercise caution mainly in the coastal waters east and southeast of the islands. Sea level pressure is 1017.8 millibars. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:20 a.m. The sun will set today at 6:20 p.m. In the Eastern Caribbean forecast, a broad range of high pressure will maintain relatively stable atmospheric conditions over the islands of the Eastern Caribbean today and tonight. Skies over the islands from Puerto Rico eastwards, the leewards and southwards to Trinidad and Tobago will be generally partly cloudy with a moderate chance of a shower over Puerto Rico and Trinidad and Tobago and low chance of showers elsewhere. That item brings us to the end of KyssFM SKN News Now Morning Edition. Now for a recap of this morning's top stories. Nationally, the St. Nevis will be added to the EU blacklist. Internationally, US to vote on boosting security at schools, and in sports, WWE set sights on Middle East. Thanks for tuning in for another SKN News Now presentation. I've been your presenter. Stay tuned, Kyle Update is next.